I received this Homever bread maker from Amazon about a month ago, and I've been testing it to see how it works. And this morning I'm going to make a French bread loaf, which is recipe number 4 in the instruction manual. I'm going to make a 1.5 pound loaf, and I plugged my machine in, and so I'm going to get my ingredients together and show you what I do. So I plugged it in, I'll open it up, and I've got the pan with the paddle in, all ready to go. And when you get the machine, of course, you have to wash it all. First ingredient that I would put in is the water, 260 degrees. They come with this nice little plastic jug, markings on the side. So there's the water, it's room temperature I use, filtered water. Then the next thing I would add, it says butter in the instruction manual. I always use a canola oil, which seems to work just fine, and it says 2 big spoons, so they give you this scooper, which is actually a tablespoon and a teaspoon measurement. So for a big spoon, it's the tablespoon. So 2 of these of the oil. So I'm just going to measure that out. One. 2. The next ingredient is the table salt, half a small spoon. So I've measured that out. Let's pour it in. Then the next will be the milk powder, which is 3 big spoons, so 3 tablespoons of milk powder. I just use some dried milk powder. That's 1, 2, 3. Next you add in your bread flour. So for the 1.5 pound loaf it's 400 grams, which I've measured out in this bowl. Just pour it in. And the last ingredient for the French bread is the yeast powder, and use bread machine instant yeast. So you use 1 small spoon and just tip it on top of the flour. They do recommend that you don't mix the yeast with the sugar. So now I've got all my ingredients in my bowl, and you just put it in the machine at a slight angle, and then you just twist it till it locks in place. Close the lid. Now my bread recipe is number 4, so you go to the menu button. You see here it says menu 1, so I'm going to press it until it shows 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so menu 4, and it's a 1.5 pound, so I don't have to adjust the size of the loaf. But if you had made a smaller size loaf, you would press it to show a 2 pound loaf, and it adjusts accordingly the time. So a 1 pound loaf, if you followed the instructions for 1 pound, that would be how long it would take. But mine's 1.5, so it's going to take 3 hours and 19 minutes. And then down here it shows the colour of the bread. I'm just going to leave it at medium, but you can adjust it here using this button. And then you just press this button and it starts. And it's going to take 3 hours 19 minutes, and this machine does everything, and will make hopefully a nice delicious loaf of bread. That beeping sound was the sound of the bread being ready. So now I'm going to turn the machine off, unplug it, and take the bread out. Lift up the lid. It smells delicious. There's the lovely loaf of bread. Then to take it out, you just put the handle, twist it round, and pull out like that. Then you'll need to turn your loaf pan upside down and maybe jiggle it a little bit to get the loaf out, and let it cool before you cut into it. Bon appetit! There's my loaf of French bread.